are located, if you go out of the auditorium and turn left, and you'll see some stairs and signs to the garden rooms. They're down there. That's your nearest bathroom. Also, if there is a fire, you'll hear intermittent bells and also continuous bells. So for both, can you just evacuate the auditorium, and there is a site outside that you can meet in the courtyard or go to the Porter's Lodge and meet there. Okay, so I'd like to thank, first of all our speakers, workshop hosts and companies that are presenting today for giving us their time. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to our sponsors, without whom we wouldn't be able to run this event, so thank you very much. Alongside the talks and panel discussions today, we have 3 exhibitions. So you have the Computer Museum exhibition, which you'll find in the Umni foyer as you head to the other auditorium. We also have the Diamond exhibition and the Technology Showcase, which are both held in the dining hall. So we have 17 startups in our Technology Showcase, and they're all competing for several prizes, including £10,000 of consultancy from KPMG and £3,000 worth of legal consultancy from S&R Denton, as well as many other prizes. So you can vote for your 5 favourite companies by using your interactive conference badges. So you tap on the tap to vote points located on each stand. And at that point, you can vote for 5 finalists, so just 5 taps. And at 3 p.m, the voting closes. So please make sure you vote in the coffee breaks and the lunch break. We also have a conference app, so you can download that from iTunes now. That has all the schedule in there, and you can create your own personal schedule by selecting which sessions you want to go to. There's also an interactive map, so you can find your way around the venue. And also note that some sessions will be held in here and then be streamed live into the Umni auditorium, such as this one. So if you do want to ask a question while you're in the Umni auditorium, all you need to do is go onto Twitter and write #TVC2012Q and add the speaker's first name. So, for example, if I want to ask Alid Jones a question, I would write #TVC2012Q, Alid, what are your thoughts on sustainable business? And then we have a couple of CUTEC members who will then ask your questions for you in the audience. So with that, I would like to introduce Dr. Alid Jones, the inaugural Director of the Global Sustainability Initiative at Anglia Ruskin University. Alid was previously Director of Sustainability Research at the University of Cambridge and has written over 30 academic papers, 6 book chapters and several patents. So please welcome Dr. Alid Jones to officially open the conference.
Thank you. It's good to see so many people here today. It's an interesting conference to open, sort of technology venturing and innovation in an uncertain world. And as it's got technology and venture in the title, I think I can do a little bit of a sales pitch for our initiative to start with. And I think there's some interesting things that I just wanted to highlight in what we're trying to do and why I think I'm here to give you the first sort of 5-minute opening pitch, try and wake you up so that when the real speakers come on, you're actually all awake and the coffee's kicked in. So as I said, I'm Director of the Global Sustainability Institute at Anglia Ruskin University. We were set up a year ago to look at sustainability and what sustainability means, predominantly sort of very much at the applied end of sustainability, so working with business, government, and trying to understand how investment, capital and behaviour can change a system, can have an impact at a global level. So what we're trying to do is look at and bring together systems pressures, so resource constraints, resource limits potentially around the world, looking at pricing of commodities, how those are going to change over the next few years, and at the other end of the scale, the behaviour change of individuals. So how do people use technologies to understand some of those systems pressures? How do they use technologies to change their behaviour, certainly in energy efficiency, but also in well-being, in the big societal shifts that we're now seeing. So what do people do when they're engaging with technology, and what are the pressures that are put onto technology development and business development from a sustainability point of view? Looking at the sessions you've got and the breakout sessions that you have today, we've got around 6 PhDs. I was going to highlight 4 of them. One of them is in cloud computing. So we're looking at cloud computing and power consumption. So the IT sector as the saviour of the planet, moving a lot of technology and things that we do within business over onto the IT infrastructure and possibly onto a cloud infrastructure. Actually, will that save the planet, or will it increase power consumption or not? So we're looking at actually what is the power consumption, what's the likely power consumption, what are the systems you need to put in place for cloud computing to achieve some of the goals that some of the companies want to achieve. Healthcare. We're very interested in the impact of healthcare and how people use technology in healthcare. Our focus is predominantly for this sector at the moment around either fuel poverty in this country or in developing countries, so how people engage with new energy technologies as well as healthcare technologies to achieve the well-being they want. Investment, we're doing a huge amount around investment and capital flows. So I chair a group for Greg Barker, the Minister of Climate Change, looking at private sector investment, predominantly the institutional investors. So in effect, how does government, UK government, spend its $3 billion to encourage the $10 trillion that are held in institutional investors to invest into technology, to invest into new solutions in sustainability, to invest around the world, to try and create this transition to a green economy. On clean tech, we're doing quite a lot around the role of venture capital and private equity and the barriers that clean tech companies have in their creation. So what is the evolution of a clean tech industry? What are the policy frameworks that are needed? What are the other things that are needed to enable clean tech to thrive? So it's sort of a mix of different things, but really at its heart is individuals, how people make decisions, why people make decisions, and how to sustain this big transition towards a green economy, towards something which looks like what the politicians at the international level are talking about, but not really doing very much about enabling at the moment. So what do they need to know to help enable some of this transition to happen? So technology in an uncertain world, lots of uncertainty around at the moment. 2 key meetings happening over the last week or so. The G20 in Mexico, focusing on economic uncertainty, so the debt crisis, the financial crisis, banking crisis. How do you increase funding, investment into companies, into the new economy that needs to be growing, while certainly the developed country governments have basically run out of money. So if technologies in particular are reliant on subsidies or reliant on things like feed-in tariffs, which have had a huge impact on the solar industry in the UK over the last year until they changed it because they ran out of money and realised they'd be running out of money much faster than they thought. How you cope with that sort of political uncertainty given the economic uncertainty that we face. And then, of course, the Rio Earth Summit, which is sort of still happening, but actually they've really finished it on Tuesday, the day before it started. The draft text was released. It's not really changing. And how you pull together the resources and the resource uncertainty, who owns it. China have just said in the last couple of days, sorry, we're running out of rare earth metals. That's probably a political move rather than an actual thing, but partly in response to Japan and Vietnam signing a bilateral agreement so that Vietnam will now become a major source of rare earth metals. But how that all impacts on the global economy is very interesting. Climate change is obviously another key issue that they were trying to talk about in Rio. But the political decision makers are finding it very difficult to come up with any sort of globally coherent agreement that they can all sign up to for a variety of political reasons, all to do with national issues. So the US facing an election, China getting a new elected leadership, elected by a very small number of people, going through their political change, the EU in its economic crisis not really being able to sign up to anything. So it's a very difficult time for Rio. It's a very difficult time for sustainability in that political landscape. But politicians are looking out for the solutions and trying to see how they can enable some of these solutions to come on board. So in terms of what I think a sort of uncertain world looks like at the moment, because of the economic crisis, there will be an increasing amount of policy uncertainty around the world, nationally, within regions like the European Union, increasingly within the US, as well as within China and some of the emerging markets. So policy uncertainty is going to be key in how you think about technology and technology development over the long term, over and beyond these short-term policy developments and as they get changed. And commodities and prices of resourcing will increasingly be volatile, will go up and down. Petrol's been going up and down quite a lot, or oil's been going up and down quite a lot over the last couple of years and will continue to be very volatile. So the sorts of changes in technology and changes in need are very interesting to try and watch. And how you innovate and how you create the technologies that can potentially solve some of those volatility around policy and sort of reliance on volatile commodities is very interesting, as well as how you try and create a stable business that can cope with that changing policy is a key thing to be thinking about, I think, as we're going through the day. So that sort of investment landscape, and then those core areas for innovation, healthcare, IT and clean tech. That's all I was going to say. I hope the rest of the conference is very interesting. Hope you all get something very useful out of it. And I'll be around for most of the morning. I'll try and stay around for some of the afternoon as well, but hopefully I'll meet a number of you during the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Can you all hear me? Yeah?
Yeah.
So good morning. My name is Alessandra Caggiano. I'm the Finance Director of CUTEC. Today I have the honor of introducing our first keynote speaker. She's not just the CEO of Ariadne Capital and the co-founder and managing director of the ACE Fund and the founder of Entrepreneur Country. She's also very recently published a book. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Julie Mayer.